Hello and welcome to the first ever Rachel's Books YouTube video. One of my goals for 2026 is to finally get into filming some long form content on YouTube for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're from Instagram or TikTok, welcome back. I'm surprised you're not sick of seeing me. And if you're new, my name is Rach and I talk about all things books. And I thought that I would start my first ever YouTube video off by copying Freya. No, Freya made an incredible video the other day of her tier ranking every single one of the books that she read in 2025, and I thought that that was such a good idea, and I have a lot to yap about, so I thought we could do the same thing now. I have read 62 books so far this year. The goal was 100, but I got very distracted with uni work this year, so I'm going to rank them all for you based on my very own tier list. Okay, so as you can see, I have created my own tiers because putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, that's boring. We're going to do it a little bit more subjectively. So I've got at the bottom, Get Out of My Sight, because these are books that I absolutely hated from this year. There's not too many, but there are definitely some. We've then got Sorry, but absolutely not. So these are books that I didn't like, but I can see why other people would like them, or they did have some redeeming features. I'll talk you through each of them a little bit so you know what I'm on about. Then we've got Meh, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. Then we've got Good but Not Great. I think there's going to be heaps in this category because there are a lot of books I read that I like but I don't think are amazing. I am a really harsh reader, so you'll see that, I think. Then we've got Da Fuck but Positive, because as I was putting this list together and getting all of the books that I've read this year, I realized that there were quite a few that I wouldn't rate high or low, but were still good, but were also very strange. You'll see what I mean once I start putting some in there. There are some that definitely go in that category. Next, we've got Gimme 14 of them right now. These are books that I loved from the year, but they don't quite reach our highest category, which is perfect, and I refuse to shut up about it. So there were a few here that you're probably sick of me talking of. I promise not to yap about them too much in this video, but I have to mention them all, of course. So without further ado, I think we should get to ranking. These are totally random, by the way. I just put them all into like a folder, so they're not in any particular order. Starting off with One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Amar Akkad. This one is a non-fiction, and it is part memoir and kind of part, I don't even know how you'd categorize it. He kind of goes over what is happening at the moment in Palestine and obviously the awful stuff that's been going on this year. Amar has so much to say, and it is super, super unique and just a really valuable read. I thought that this was really, really good. I'm kind of struggling between Gimme 14 of them right now and Da Fuck Positive, because it's not one of those ones that I was like, oh, I want to read more like this, because it is very upsetting, but it was very, very well done, and I think it's a very valuable read. I'm going to say Gimme 14 of them, but I think you guys know that I'm kind of between. That's a hard one to rate. We started off difficult. Next up, we've got Everything in This Country Must by Colin McCann. I read this for my Irish literature class. It is I think it's 3 short stories put together into one book. This was very, very good. Not my favorite Irish literature that I've read, and definitely not something I'd recommend to everyone. I thought it was well written. One of these stories I really liked. 2 of them were a bit whatever, so I'm going to go good but not great based on the 3 of them as a whole. Next up, Richard Osman. I love Richard Osman. He wrote the Thursday Murder Club series. If you didn't already know, I think that he writes the most fun and unique cozy mysteries. This one is a brand new series from him, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. It was complicated. It did hurt my head a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go into Gimme 14 of them because I just love him so much. Next up was one of my favorites from this year. It's Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. This is like if Studio Ghibli movies were a book. And I don't mean like how Howl's Moving Castle is already a book. It's just that vibe you get from Studio Ghibli movies put into this beautiful fantasy story with like a touch of romance that I absolutely loved. I think it was the first book I read this year, and I really, really loved it. I didn't actually rate it 5 stars, but I do refuse to shut up about it. So I'm putting it into that category. If I can get it up there. There we go. No. There we go. Okay. So moving on. Tourist Season by Brynne Weaver, our first romance. So this is a dark romance. Brynne Weaver is the only author I've ever read dark romance from, and I love her. She's a queen. Her books, I always say, are like the perfect intersection of romantic, hilarious, and dark and gory. I really like this, not as much as her other series that I've read, but I thought it was still really good. We'll say good. It could definitely go in Da Fuck Positive because it is super, super messed up, but I still really enjoyed it. So we'll keep it there for now. Next up, this one is really disappointing. It's Cruel as the Light by Sophie Clark. I know a lot of people love this one, and if you do, that is awesome. I'm so glad you liked it. I could not stand this book. I really, really didn't like it. I thought the plot was all over the place. Half the time I didn't know what was going on. I didn't like the characters. I didn't think they were very well developed. I do believe this is a YA, so I will keep that in mind, but it's still not a favorite of mine. It's not something I enjoyed reading, and it was a little bit of a slog. So this one's going to go sorry, but absolutely not, because redeeming factors and other people might like it, definitely not for me. Next up is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I really like Ali Hazelwood. I'm not like a huge stan of hers, but I do really like her books. This has not been my favorite from her. I just didn't really click with the characters that much. I thought it was a really good story, sports romance, a diver and a swimmer, like super spicy if that's what you're looking for, which doesn't bother me, but I wouldn't say it was great. So we'll say good but not great for that one. Next up is Unhallowed Halls by Lily Wilkinson. This is a YA dark academia novel, kind of like a thrillery mystery thing that I read as an audiobook, and I honestly just didn't really like it. I've made the decision, I think, to stop reading mystery/thriller YA books, because every time I do it, I don't enjoy them. So I think I need to stop trying. So that's on me. But this one, I don't think it was that memorable. It felt very juvenile, even for a YA book. There just were plot holes, and I don't know. I just didn't like it. So we're gonna go sorry, but absolutely not. It wasn't like I hate that book, but it wasn't good. Next up is Upon a Starlit Tide by Kel Woods. So Kel Woods wrote After the Forest, which is a fairy tale retelling that I really, really enjoyed. So I was super excited for this one to come out. This one is a historical fiction, but also based on mythology. I don't really know how to categorize it. It's about a mermaid, but there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, even though this concept is very cool, I did find this one a bit boring. I struggled to get through it. I wasn't that engaged. I wasn't a fan of this one, but I didn't hate it. So we're going to go meh for that one. I wouldn't recommend it, but I definitely wouldn't say it's bad. Next up, we've got Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reid. This is the sequel to A Study in Drowning, which is a YA fantasy romance from a couple of years ago, I think, that I absolutely loved. If you've read this book, I'm sure you liked it too. It was so, so good. It was the perfect example of how a YA can still have depth and a lot to say without being like not appropriate for a young adult audience. I really liked this book, but it was very, very different to the first one. It didn't really feel like a sequel, to be honest. I thought that it was excellent, but not a great extension of the series. So I'm going to have to put this one in meh, because I think if we look at it as a standalone book, I would have rated it way higher. But as a continuation of this series, I can see why a lot of people didn't love it. So fair enough. I did a reread this year of one of my favorite book in the entire world. It is If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. I love this book. It is a literary fiction, kind of has thriller elements to it as well. If you do decide to read this one, please check trigger warnings, because it is a little bit disturbing. I just love this book. I'm not going to yap about it for too long, because you guys already know how much I love it. And it's going in, if I can get up there, perfect, and I refuse to shut up about it. Next up, we have a novella. It is Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, another one I read for my Irish literature class. I loved this book. I'm so annoyed at myself for not having read any Claire Keegan before this, because this book was excellent. The way that she was able to pack so much content and such an important message into such a short novella without it feeling too dense is amazing. I don't know how she does that. It's going in. Give me 14 of them right now. Next up, we've got The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mokhtar. She was the co-writer for This Is How You Lose the Time War, which was this incredible sci-fi epistolary novel. And I knew this book was going to be good because it's her first solo novel, I think. And it's not a retelling, but it gives very fairy tale vibes. Like the whole thing just feels like a kid's fairy tale, but also has a darker twist. Like it's clearly for adults. But I thought this book was really, really good. It was excellent. It's very short. I don't know if you'd call it a novella, but it just had this vibe that I've never seen replicated. Her writing style is so, so unique. I'd totally recommend this one, especially if you liked If We'd Lose the Time War. So give me 14 of them right now. Next up is Scythe and Sparrow, another Bryn Weaver novel. This is the series I was talking about before. It is the third in her, what is it called? Ruinous Love trilogy. And this was my least favorite from the trilogy, but I still really liked it. I think that just tells you that I really liked the first two. It has this kind of circus setting and vibe to it, which I'm not a huge fan of. And they were my least favorite characters, but in saying that, I still really liked this. This is not a negative thing. It's just to say that I liked the first two much more. But the romance was still solid. I still liked the characters, and it was not a struggle at all to get through. So we'll say good but not great for that one. Next up is another favourite from the year. It is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. It's toxic lesbian vampires. If you didn't know, that's how this book was marketed before it came out, and it is so accurate. I really loved this. V.E. Schwab is an incredible writer. It's hard. It's kind of teetering for me between the first two categories. I'm going to go Refuse to Shut Up about it because this was really, really good. Not for everyone, but definitely for me. Next up is another great one. It's I Am Not Jessica Chen by Anne Lang. I am surprised that I like this one so much. This is not my normal kind of thing. This is a YA fiction novel with elements of magical realism to it. And it was just a really cool concept and really, really well done, in my opinion. So it's about a girl who is struggling a little bit in school and feels that she's not doing very well. And she suddenly wakes up in the body of her cousin, Jessica Chen, who is absolutely perfect. She has everything and she kind of gets to live her life for a little while. And obviously more stuff happens. There's also a romance subplot that I thought was really well incorporated. I really enjoyed this one and I don't shut up about it whenever anyone asks. I feel like I haven't talked about that one too much because I read it right at the start of the year, but trust me, I absolutely loved it. Next up, we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. You guys know I really liked this one, or maybe you don't, but I did. This was originally fan fiction. It was redone, or like reworked into its own romance duology, I believe it's going to be. It is a fantasy romance, and I thought this was so much fun. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and I totally understand why. It is a little crude and a little out there, but like almost has like a grimy feel to it. I don't even know how to explain, but I really liked it. I sped through it and thought that it was really, really fun. So I think you should give me 14 of them right now. Next up is going to be a really hard one to rate. So this is Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Wang. This is an excellent book. I didn't really enjoy it, but it is really, really good. There's always going to be books like that where you know it's good, but it is a bit of a struggle to read. It is really, really upsetting. Please check trigger warnings for this one as well. This one is going straight into the fuck positive category because it is, like I said, so good, but total mindfuck to me, honestly. Next up is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, or Catabasis, however you want to pronounce it. This was a disappointment to me. I didn't hate it. A lot of people really dislike this. I don't have that opinion, but I also definitely do not think that it is R.F. Kuang's best work, and it was a little bit of a disappointment. So I still enjoyed it, and I would still recommend it, but I'm going to have to put it in the good but not great category because there were just elements to this that I could not get over where I was like, this does not feel like something I want to be reading. But anyway, next up is a sequel. This has gone in a bad order, I apologize. This is The Jasad Crown, which is the sequel to The Jasad Heir, which is the Scorched Throne duology by Sarah Hashem. These were my two favorite books in 2025, undoubtedly. They are so unique. They're romantic fantasies, and they are just so incredible. They're based on Egyptian mythology and kind of history, and I've just never read anything like them. I know that this series has a really, really dedicated fan base, but the fan base is not big enough. If you have not read these books and you're watching this video right now, you have important work to do. Go and buy them immediately. So good. I will never ever shut up about these. And the ending killed me. I won't ruin it, but I won't stop thinking about it ever. Next up is Ashley Poston's novel, which is Sounds Like Love. This is not my favorite Ashley Poston, but I still think it was great. Ashley Poston writes these magical realism romances, and everything I've read from her I've really liked. I'm not a huge musician romance person. I think that might be why this wasn't one of my favorites. But the magical realism element to this was really, really cool. It was basically that the two main characters have this kind of involuntary telepathic connection, which I know sounds kind of crazy, but they can just sometimes hear each other in their heads. And I just thought that that was really, really sweet. And the way she wrote it was beautiful. So this is going to go in... It's hard. It's between good but not great and give me 14 of them. I'm going to say good but not great, but just know that it's very, very close. Next up was Air by Sabah Tahir. This one, I think I read this as an ebook while I was traveling, and I was surprised by how much I liked it. I'm not usually a high fantasy person, but this was very well done. It's got that classic kind of fantasy, like shared POV between quite a few characters, and there's a lot going on. But I think that because Sabah is such a good writer, it works really well in this instance. I will definitely read the second book from this series. I'm not sure if it's duology or more than that when it comes out, and I totally recommend it. Not like a favorite from the year, but still really good. So we'll say good but not great for that one. Next up is the book club for troublesome women. This was a super random one that I got off Libro FM. I love Libro FM as well if you're looking for somewhere to read your audiobooks. Not sponsored, they're just great. This one is a historical fiction, and it was just so cool. It is basically about housewives who create their own book club and start reading books that are considered very risque and kind of not appropriate for housewives during this period. And I thought it was really good. I was super engaged. I thought the historical setting was great. All of the characters were really interesting. This was really good. I'm going to say give me 14 of them. It did have a little bit of a weird ending part to it, which I'm going to choose to ignore because the rest of it was so good that we'll just ignore that. Next up is a little bit of a controversial one. It is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I didn't love this. I heard actually Freya say when I was watching her video that people that loved Beach Read might not like this, but people that loved Happy Place might like this. And I am in the camp of I loved Beach Read and not really Happy Place. So I didn't really like this. I didn't think it was bad by any means. It's just, it felt very meh. So that's where we're going to put it. Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. This is going straight into sorry, but absolutely not. Before I can even say anything about it. It is my first Sayaka Murata read. It is a dystopian kind of alternate reality. I don't really want to go into it. Please read about it before you read it. The ending was incredibly disturbing to the point where I don't really want to read anything from her again. But we'll move on. First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. What an awesome romance this was. It's my first B.K. Borison book. And this one is very loosely based on the movie Sleepless in Seattle. And I thought it was so much fun. The characters were great. It wasn't like a huge standout for me in the romance genre, but I will definitely be reading more B.K. Borison because I like the way she writes her characters. And this was I think a pretty unique take on like romance. So again, this one is between Gimme 14 and Good But Not Great. I'm going to say Gimme 14. I did really like this one. Next up is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. If you have seen any of my wrap-up videos from the year, you know that I hate this book with every fiber of my being. I'm not going to tell you all about why, because this video will be multiple hours long. I hated this. Get it out of my sight. I will try. I have promised to try at least one more Abby Jimenez book because I've been told by so many people that this is not her best work. I will give it one more go, and then I will be giving up because this really put me off. I couldn't stand that book. Next up is another one I didn't like. It's Heavenly Tyrant by Zoran-J Zhao, which is the sequel to Iron Widow, which is a YA sci-fi that I absolutely loved. It was so unique and really well written, and unfortunately this one just let me down so much. The plot was absolutely everywhere. I felt like the characters had totally different personalities to the first one. It was super long, and half the time either nothing was happening or I didn't know what was happening. I can't recommend this, and it has really put me off. I thought this was a duology, but I think there's going to be one more, and I can't decide whether or not I want to read it. So get it out of my sight. I don't want to think about it. Next up is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I enjoyed this one a lot more, again, than I thought I would. I've never read a Stephanie Garber book before, so this is my first one, and I am absolutely blown away by the way she's able to write such incredible atmospheres in her books. Apparently this is a thing that she does in all of them. The vibes of this were immaculate. It's like a kind of old Hollywood style, but it's also set in the present. So I don't know how she managed to do that. And it has this really interesting magic system. The problem I had with this book is the pacing is absolutely everywhere. It kind of gives you whiplash, and not in a fun way. So I'm going to have to put this one in good but not great. Just know that I really enjoyed it, and I will definitely read the sequel. But that pacing, I cannot get over it. It made it a bit difficult to get through. Next up is The Girl with Braided Hair by Rasha Adli. This is a book by an Egyptian author that I picked up in Egypt. I really enjoyed it. It is a historical fiction that kind of alternates between a very historic timeline and just a slightly historic one, and it's all about this painting and a mystery is being uncovered. I thought it was very good. Not a mainstream one, but one that I would recommend if you go and have a look at the synopsis and it sounds good, please give it a go. I thought it was really fun. I'm going to put this one in good but not great. It was good, but it was not anything like mind-blowing. Next up, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I love this book. This is immediately going into I will never shut up about it. Wait, where to go? No, not get out of my sight. I'm sorry, it's really hard to use this tier maker. Okay, so this one's going perfect. I refuse to shut up about it. I loved this perfect romantic fantasy, in my opinion. I won't yap about it, but I will be reading The Knave and the Moon as soon as it comes out. This is going to be a duology, so can't wait for the next one, and then that's it. I'm not a fan of long series, so I'm really glad when books are like duologies. Beautiful. Next up is Good Spirits. So this is the only other BK Borison book I read this year. It is a Christmas romance, and it was a lot of fun. I just loved the vibes to this one. Like I said before, I think BK Borison just writes really good, fun, sweet romances. So we're going to put this one in good but not great. I really liked it. Nothing crazy. Here's the Ghost of Christmas Past, so it has like kind of a paranormal element to it that I think made it really unique. I loved that one. The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling I read as a audiobook, and I didn't love it. But I think it could potentially be because I read it as an audiobook. This is kind of a sapphic medieval fantasy story, and while that sounds excellent, I just really struggle to follow it, and I can't tell if that's because of how I read it. So I'm going to put it in sorry, but absolutely not, with the preface that if you read it, you may have a very different experience to me. So I'm not sure about that one. The Geographer's Map to Romance, this one was such a disappointment to me. I'm a huge India Holton fan, but this book felt so underdeveloped. It is the second in her newest trilogy, and the romance wasn't really there. I didn't like the characters or really get any kind of good description of them or their personalities. I didn't really know what was going on with the magic. I didn't like this at all, so I'm going to get it out because I'm going to pretend I didn't read it. Begborough or Steel by Sarah Adams. This was a really good romance. Low-key, I forgot I read this, to be honest, so maybe it's slightly forgettable. But I thought it was very, very good. I remember loving these characters, and I definitely need to read more Sarah Adams in 2026. Good, but nothing like crazy. But I did really enjoy that one. Shout out to Caitlin who recommended it. She loves this book, and she's right. It was great. Next is a short story. It is A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. I read this one because a lot of people recommended it on my TikTok when I made a video talking about books with unreliable narrators. I would put it into that category, but I'm not sure why everyone was going so mental about it, because I think it is unreliable, but not to like a crazy extent. This was very interesting, but it is going in the fuck because it's a bit crazy. Read a synopsis and decide whether you want to read it. It's short, so won't take up too much of your time. Next is another Anne Lang book. It's If You Could See the Sun. This one was not a favourite of mine. I have a feeling this was one of the earliest books, or possibly even her debut, that she wrote. And I can kind of see that. It's YA, but again, in that very juvenile way. It is a kind of like it's not fantasy, but it's a romance with this fantastical element to it. I just was a little bit bored by this, to be honest. There was nothing great about it. It's going straight into meh. Modern Divination by Isa Agayanian. I really, really liked this book, and I feel like this book is slept on so often. It is a dark academia romantic fantasy, and I think it's going to be a duology. I think there's only going to be 2 of them. The next one comes out in 2026, and I thought that this had that beautiful, dark, romantic vibe to it. I absolutely fell in love with the main characters. If that's kind of sounds like something you'd enjoy, I would totally recommend Modern Div. It was really, really good. I think you should give me 14 of them right now. So good, that book. Okay, Cover Story by Mary McFarlane. This is a romance novel, but it is a romance novel for people that don't want too much romance, because it is a workplace romance that has this really prevalent journalism kind of plot to it. So there's like another story going on in the background that is quite a large part of the book. I liked it, but I didn't think it was anything amazing. The romance was good. It's kind of an enemies to lovers kind of thing. When We Were Monsters by Jennifer Niven is another one that I read on audio. I didn't like this. This is the other one that I was talking about before. It's another YA dark academia thrillery mystery thing. And I felt that this book was trying so hard to be like intelligent, and I know this is mean, intelligent and kind of profound, and it just didn't get there. It didn't say anything interesting or profound to me in the entire book. I really, really disliked it. So get it out of my sight. The Jasad Heir is going straight up into perfect, and I refuse to shut up about it. I actually like this better than the sequel, not because I think it was better. I just really enjoyed like coming into this world for the first time. So please read this series if you haven't already. Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This one is so spicy. It is a werewolf romance. Obviously, we had Bride first, and Mate is the sequel. It's gonna go in the fuck positive, because I really enjoyed it. I did really enjoy it. I think it was honestly just a little bit too much, and you'll see what I mean if you read it. Just for me personally, I would have liked a little more plot. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have the spicy scenes. I'm just saying that I needed a little bit more to stay engaged. But moving on, Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon is the prequel to the prequel of Priory of the Orange Tree. So it goes Burning Flowers first, then A Day of Fallen Night, then Priory of the Orange Tree. But they were released in the opposite order, which is incredibly confusing. But Samantha Shannon is my favorite high fantasy author. I think she writes incredible stories, great characters, but I also think that her writing style leans much more preferably towards longer books. So when I read her other two, which are chonky books, I enjoyed them much more because I was able to delve into the story and the world much better. I liked this, but it wasn't anything amazing to me because I just wished that it could have been a longer, more fleshed out story. I think that would have been great. The Other Brother by Tierney Page. This is Tierney's debut romance novel, and I loved this one. This was a musician romance, which I don't usually love, but she did really, really well on this one. I think it's kind of it's ex-fiance's younger brother, which is very specific, but it's so well done. You're just kind of gonna have to believe me that I think that she writes very first of all, they're funny romances, but they also have so much depth to them. Like, the characters communicate, which is crazy, and they have proper adult conversations, and they still have a perfect amount of like spice and romantic scenes. So I think this was great, and I think you should give me 14 of them. Eternal Ruin by Tigris Germa. This is the second in her Immortal Dark trilogy. I loved Immortal Dark. Eternal Ruin I really liked, but I struggled to get through the first like half of it. I was just a little bit bored, trying to remind myself of what happened in the first one. But once I got back into it, I really enjoyed this. I think it really picked up in the second half. I can't wait to read the last one. Second books in a trilogy are always difficult to write and read, but I think she still did a really good job. It's going to be good but not great. But please keep in mind, I would still recommend this entire series 100%. It's just that middle ground is really hard to navigate. I know that. Lucy Score has a new small town romance series out starting this year. And the first one is called Story of My Life. It's the Story Lake series. And I love Lucy Score. Nobody writes small town romance like Lucy Score. She is incredible. So this is going straight to give me 14 of them because I really, really loved this and I can't wait for the next two to come out. I think that I'll just read any small town Lucy Score because the Knock 'Em Out series is by far my favorite romance series. I love it. Moving on, Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. Another one that I read at the start of the year that I really disliked. I like Beth O'Leary. Usually I don't love her work, but I like it. But this book, for me personally, was not it because it is a romance based on the premise of these two people that get stuck on a houseboat that floats out to sea. And that is a huge fear of mine, like getting stuck at sea. I don't like boats. So it just triggered me a little bit. I was like, I don't like the vibes of this. It also felt really insta-lovey because obviously they fall in love on the during the however many days they're out at sea. And I know they spend the whole time together and whatever, but didn't love that. So it's going to be like between these two categories. I really didn't like it. We're going to go get out of my sight. I feel like I'm being harsh, but I got to be honest with you guys. Next up is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. I love Lila Sage. She's one of my favorite romance writers. Soul Searching it's the first in a brand new Western small town romance series from Lila, and it has a paranormal element to it as well. So our FMC in this one can sense and communicate with ghosts, which was so much fun. I think it was the perfect kind of thing to add to Lila Sage's writing style, is that paranormal element. I really loved this, and I would like 14 of them, please. I can't wait for the rest of that series to come out. Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This is a sapphic retelling of Carmilla. I've never read Camilla. I did enjoy this. It has that dark academia theme. It has that kind of feminist overtone, which I really enjoyed. I just didn't find it that memorable. To be honest, I couldn't recount the plot to you. And there was nothing about it that stood out. I liked the vibe. The characters kind of I didn't connect with any of them very much. I'm going to put this one in meh. I did enjoy it, but it was nothing amazing. Heartstrings by Ivy Fairbanks. This is the second in her Love in Galway series. I was in Galway for 4 weeks this year, so I am so biased with this series because I absolutely love that city. I liked this one, but I didn't love the characters, to be honest with you. The FMC kind of bothered me. The MMC was fine. It's another musician romance. Why did I read so many musician romances this year? It's not a bad thing, but I don't love them, so... this was good but not great, but I will say that the first in this series, which is Morbidly Yours, would have definitely been in the give me 14 of them. So I recommend this series, and I think there's going to be one more. And based on this book, I think I know who the characters are going to be, and I really like them. So I think that will be my favorite of the series, but I'll keep you updated. Mother Tongue by Naima Brown is the last book that I read on audio this year, and I really liked this. It is a literary fiction about a woman who has, I cannot for the life of me remember what this condition is called, but it's the condition that when you go into a coma or you get hurt or get a head injury, you wake up and you're totally fluent in a language that you never spoke. So she wakes up totally speaking only in French, and her husband and daughter are like, what the hell is going on? It's insane, but really, really good. I thought it was well written. I loved the way she delved into her main character's mind and kind of went through like the life of motherhood. I'm not even interested in motherhood, but I thought this was incredible. So I'm going to put this one in gimme 14 of them because I thought it was a very, very good literary fiction. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Loved One by Aisha Muhara. This is a literary fiction revolving around grief. My problem that I had with this book is that it was continuously marketed before it came out as the funniest book you'll ever read about grief, and I did not find a single part of this funny. Like, it was a good book, but it was not comedic in any way. Very interesting take on grief. A good story, like engaging, which I think literary fiction sometimes can be a little slow, but this one was very good. I would recommend it. I would say good, but not great. I enjoyed it. Nothing amazing. Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is the last in her Rebel Blue Ranch series. It was the fourth and final one, and these were just my least favorite characters. I loved this series, but I knew I wasn't going to look forward to the last one because it is a second chance romance and like childhood, like romance, what like childhood friends to lovers, whatever. And that's just not my vibe. I don't love those tropes. So I liked it, but it was my least favorite of the four. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid was an incredible read. Sapphic historical fiction set, I think it's in the 80s. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, I can't remember. About two women who are going to the space station, and it is insanely good. This book is incredible. I'm going to put it in I refuse to shut up about it because I am not even the hugest TJR fan, but this one was really, really well done. Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reid was a little bit of a disappointment. This is a YA fantasy romance. It's sapphic, and it was very heavily inspired by the Hunger Games. And Ava Reid tells us that. It's like nothing crazy. But I just found it to be really like bland. Like it wasn't bad at all, but it just left so much to be desired. There's nothing about it that I can point out to be like, this was really good or this was well done. It just was what it was. I don't know. Some people might like it. Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake is another one that I really enjoyed from this year. Give me 14 of them because it is a literary fiction with horror elements from Olivia Blake. And I know a lot of people didn't like this one, but I love Olivia Blake's writing style. I know it's dense and I know she doesn't get to the point for a really long time, but I still really enjoyed it. It's about a sorority house that also happens to be a bunch of cannibals, and it is really, really good in my opinion. Hecate by Nikita Gill. This one was sent over to me by the beautiful people at Atria because they said to me, we think you will like this, and they were absolutely correct. It is a Greek mythology retelling of the story of Hecate, but it is kind of a mix between a hybrid of poetry and prose, and I loved it. This was so, so well done. The way that Nikita Gill is able to tell such an incredible narrative in poetry is insane to me. I don't know how she does it. She's so, so good. I won't shut up about this one, actually. It's insanely good. Tenderly I'm Devoured is a YA dark academia fantasy. Oh, wait, it's another one of those, isn't it? I didn't even think about that. By Lyndall Clipstone. I didn't love this one. I didn't hate it. It's very, very meh. I love the cover, if that helps. I just thought that it was a bit... it just lacked in a lot of areas. It lacked in engagement. It lacked in kind of fleshing out our characters. It wasn't bad. It might be good for a quick read, but it's not something I'd recommend. Dubliners by James Joyce is the last book I read while in Ireland, and this is a collection of short stories, if you didn't know, about like random people in different situations in Dublin. I really liked this. I don't really know where to put it though, because they're all very different stories. I'm just going to say good but not great because, you know, obviously you're going to like some and you're not going to like others. We studied it pretty heavily, so that always makes you feel differently about it. So we'll just move on. Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. This was so bad. I like Tessa Bailey and I could not stand this book. It is the biggest example of insta-love that I have ever read in my entire life, and that is such an insult. This is not against Tessa Bailey. I don't know what happened here. I usually really enjoy her books. I don't think they're amazing, but I enjoy reading them. This one, I really struggled to get through. I was so, so close to DNFing, but because it was so short, I was like, I'll just get through it so that I can complain. Yeah, wouldn't recommend this. I will keep reading Tessa Bailey books, but if we get more like this, I'm going to be super disappointed. The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. This won the Dimmicks Book of the Year awards last year, which is why I thought it would be really good. I didn't enjoy it. This book had so much potential. It is about basically the government has figured out time travel and they're bringing people back from the past into the present. And that has so much potential as a concept, but I think that this was narrowed down so much. Like, it ends up being a romance between a lady that works for the government and one of the men that has time traveled. And it just, I don't even, like, I just found it boring. How could that be boring? I don't know, but they managed to make it boring. So while the concept was great, I didn't like it. So we'll go absolutely not. And the last one that I will be rating is The Sweet Secret by Teenie Page, which is the second in her London Hearts series. The first one was The Other Brother, which we already talked about. Unfortunately, I didn't like this one as much. I didn't hate it. I just thought that it was quite generic in a lot of ways. It kind of lacked something that The Other Brother had, which was that kind of really sweet and unique relationship that she was able to build between her characters, and I just didn't see that in this one, unfortunately. I didn't hate it. I thought the spicy scenes were really good, and it still made me laugh. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this one, but I'll definitely be reading her next one, so I'll keep going. I think that this one just wasn't for me. So here is my completed tier list of every single book that I have read in 2025. Thank you for spending the time to rank them with me. And thank you for visiting my YouTube channel for the first time. I would love to know what kind of content you guys would like to see, if any. Long form is so much fun, and I have so many ideas. But I look forward to making lots of booktube content for you and spending some time to yap about books together. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't know when I'm posting this, so have a good holiday season.